Hello. Sorry, that sounded really cheesy. I wanted to make a screencast of my screencast of me playing Polygraph with my friend, just so I could do more of a play-by-play kind of thing and add in some commentary. So let's go ahead and start watching it, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I created a polygraph about nets. I thought pictures would be a lot simpler, but also creating a lot of challenges. So I have my fiance Aaron with me. Hello. He doesn't really know much about math, so this shall be interesting. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. That should be interesting. Okay, well, anyways, let's go. I thought that using my fiance as the student in this case, or another student, I thought it would provide for more more likely language that you would see with students if you were introducing nets for the first time. And you can definitely tell in this video, it's funny. I get started with this activity. Okay, so I had to pick a card that's special to me. Don't look. I'm here. Okay. Weird noise there. Okay, I got one. Okay, so now I gotta wait for some questions to be asked.
No, I'm the one asking the questions.
Is your net a cube? No.
Okay, so I'll delete all the cubes. That would technically be a cube.
So I found this really interesting that he started deleting rectangular prisms. And this started making me think about, we might need to explain the difference between a cube and a rectangular prism, and what does that mean?
Unless
I didn't say anything.
Rectangles aren't considered cubes.
I feel like that poses a great question about what cubes are. See, at this point I would ask my students what defines a cube. All right. Okay, so he proceeds to ask me the next question.
Rejected. Alright. Bye-bye, pyramid. That's a cone. That's a pyramid.
So he knew a lot more language than I was expecting. This also made me question, hey, what defines a pyramid?
Being triangular.
So we actually go on to discuss this for a while. But I think he brought up a good point with being triangular. I think what he really meant was the parts that get folded up are the triangles. Yeah, okay. So this was an interesting conversation right here.
So I don't want to put something that's only going to eliminate one. I wonder if there's a broader term I could use to eliminate all three.
This was so crazy. I think this would be so cool if this happened in the classroom. So what you didn't notice about this is he started typing in, is your net a 3D rectangle? Okay, and I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I don't know what the term is for shapes that include rectangles. What he really meant was he didn't know how to say a prism. So I feel like in a classroom this would be such a cool thing. But I want you to see my response as you watch him end up typing that in.
I really did not know what to say.
No. That's just a weird question, but I'll say no.
Okay. Well, since I eliminated the rectangles as cubes,
Oh, wait, this is good.
I thought I would ask in a way where they were more definable.
Okay.
I love that. So if you heard him say, he said, well, I already eliminated the cubes, so I was trying to figure out a way to make it more definable for the rectangles. So he just really didn't know how to say a rectangular prism. But I love how he verbalized that. It's so cool, because I didn't really think Aaron knew any math, but he did. So we're going to move through. At this point, he got kind of frustrated. Is your net cone-like? Could have just said cone, but it was funny. Yeah, so we get through this all. Is your net shaped like a stop sign? I thought this was funny.
How many sides are on the stop sign? 6, I think.
Or maybe it was actually 8, and I already eliminated that, and now I just asked a dumb question.
No, I think it's 6.
So this was funny to me just because I really couldn't remember how many sides were on a stop sign. So I think that's where we find the need to be able to give shapes a certain name, like hexagon, pentagon, and whatnot. Okay, so then we get to, let's see. Wait, I told him. Okay, so then it was my turn, which I was really excited about because when it comes to doing this with my students, I like to actually use the language that I want them to use, so then they really have to think about it. And I was worried that Aaron wouldn't be able to figure it out based on the language that I was using. But he surprised me. Okay, so I had to wait for him a little bit. Okay. So he picked some graph, and I had to start guessing.
Does your net make a pyramid? I like that question.
So at this point, I was hoping that our conversation about pyramids earlier helped him figure out
all the pyramids.
Things he would eliminate. And I think it did.
Yes, I didn't get any wrong. Okay. Let's see. Does your net make a prism? So he's looking at me right now because I don't think he knows what a prism is.
So this is really interesting to me. Because we had kind of talked about it earlier, but he still really didn't know what it meant. So I think as a teacher at this point, I would want to take time to talk about what's the difference between a prism and a pyramid. So he goes on to figuring that out, which helps eliminate a whole bunch, and then we get down to here.
Okay. So now it really just comes down to, is this a cone or a cylinder? Is your net a cylinder?
And thank goodness he knew what a cylinder was.
So I am going to eliminate that.
Woohoo! Okay.